Welcome to ACC Stars, Where Are They Now? I'm Erin Summers. I'm a sports broadcaster that's covered the Atlantic Coast Conference for a very long time, and I grew up a fan. I've always been curious what players do after we obsess over them in college. This podcast answers that question. Each week, you'll hear an interview with a former ACC athlete. We'll find out everything they've been doing since playing in college. Thanks for listening. Let's jump in to ACC Stars, Where Are They Now? This week, I'm joined by former North Carolina State forward Simon Harris. Harris later returned to NC State as an assistant coach for the women's basketball team. However, he's done a lot before and after that. Here's our conversation. Simon, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to kind of figure out what you've been up to over the past several years. I know a lot of it's included some basketball after your playing career at NC State. So first of all, just how are you doing and where are you calling in from?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well. Good to see that you are as well. I'm calling from Columbus, Ohio. I've been up here for 3 weeks. Just literally finally unpacked our last box in our apartment. So actually in Columbus for a while, so it's great. Just kind of getting acclimated to the city and the university, in these wild times that we're in the best way we possibly can.
Things are definitely different right now, especially for you because you did just take a new job. Middle of July, you decided to go join the Ohio State women's basketball staff as an assistant coach from NC State, where you were an assistant coach prior. What went into that decision, deciding to go from your alma mater to another university?
I just think it was a really good opportunity for, my personal growth. Coach McGuff up here, we've kept in contact through the years, and we've always talked about different scenarios and situations, and we pick our brains, about different things. And I think it just came to a point as to where we were very similar on a lot of things tactically, and we were like, it would really be awesome to work together on it. So, the young ladies we have here, I recruited a lot of them when I was at the University of Dayton down the road. And it just really seems like we're really kind of moving in the right direction, and another opportunity to help build and grow and expand and kind of impact some more young people's lives. So major thing on it was just, selfishly wanted, to be able to coach a lot more in just different ways and learn from another very long tenured coach who's had success. So it's really just a really awesome opportunity kind of walking in, everybody here, and just wanted to come up here and really attack and try to win a Big Ten championship.
Where did that relationship with Coach McGuff start?
Oh, well, it started actually a long time ago. So when I was on the men's side, McGuff previously was at Xavier before he went out to Washington. And our Dobo on the men's side, Bill Komar, who's actually with Archie Miller now at Indiana, was just friends with McGuff. So we started kind of talking through there years ago. Like 2013 or so. And then we've always kept in touch, and we have a lot of mutual friends. And so just kind of stayed in the loop. And we actually didn't even discuss this position until really, early summer. It was like 4 weeks before I even considered taking the job. So it's just been kind of cool to build that relationship and communicate through your mutual friends and just kind of have that opportunity to work with one another.
Lots of names that you just dropped, lots of different places. You have been all over since you played at NC State. So let's kind of go back to the beginning. You were 9 years old when your dad took the position to be an assistant coach with the men's basketball team at NC State.
Yes.
Where did your interest in coaching stem from?
It really started really young for me. I was one of those young people who was very fortunate to know what I wanted to do. It's just kind of, my dad for the first 28 years of my life was a Division I men's basketball coach. And I was very fortunate. My parents always let me just kind of pick my path. What would you like to do? What are you interested in? And they kind of put me in those scenarios and opportunities to do so. And it really clicked for me really young. I'd say probably around right when we got to Raleigh, around 9 years old is when I really was like, I would love to do this. It's just the interaction, with the building relationships with people and being around the sport that you love and everything that it can offer. I just really wanted to first play, obviously, but then one day be able to put people in a scenario that I was fortunate enough to be in. And so, I'd say around like 9 or so. And then when I was probably a few years after that, just being around Coach K Yao, I mean, it was an absolute blessing being around her all the time. I was pretty much around her program almost as much as my dad's, especially when they went out on the road and things of that nature. And she told me young that she kind of saw that I could possibly be a good coach one day. And that's something that really resonated with me. And, you know, when you have somebody of that high a character of human being saying that, let alone a legendary basketball coach telling you that, it was kind of made the light bulb a little brighter. So it was, I'd say around that age, from the 9 to 12 is when I really wanted to start taking it serious and take the steps to be able to be where I am now.
What was it that Coach Yao saw in you at such a young age that made her pull you aside and say that you could be a coach?
I really don't know. I mean, I'd hang out while they were having camps and literally just be around. Like Debbie Antonelli always worked camp, and I'd follow her. And then Coach Yao would go over here, be running a drill or talking to somebody, so I'd go and run with her. And I really couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm glad she did see it. It's because I wanted to do it. And if she said that, I mean, it's like, oh, I guess I really can pursue this and kind of be successful. So couldn't tell you what it was, but I'm glad she saw it.
You mentioned that you wanted to pursue playing basketball first. What was that journey like when you were deciding where to go, where to start your college career?
It was very interesting, as you know, all of those are with everybody's individual recruitment processes. And my major thing was I wanted to go to a place where I felt I knew everybody. So in both recruitment processes that I had, I really wanted to know the entire staff, and was very fortunate to be recruited by different programs and different people who were about the same thing. It was we have an environment here that we want you to be a part of and help us kind of advance and enhance. And so, especially when I came to NC State, I mean, just being so familiar with that university, it was just really awesome to kind of walk on the campus and have pre-established relationships and kind of feel as if you were coming home, which then also made you want to just be better and play better and help the program and help the university and community. So that was really cool. And I think that was a no-brainer for me in the transferring process when I finally did get better and have an opportunity to play at a higher level, because it was always a goal of mine to play in the ACC, and was very fortunate to have that opportunity.
You started off playing at Elon, made the transition to NC State. Your father was still on the coaching staff at that point. What was that relationship like between your father, the coach, and your father, your dad? Yeah,
it was great. I mean, growing up, my dad was on the West Coast a lot of times, and I was stationed still in Pittsburgh. And so it was really, I mean, we're extremely close now, and completely attribute that to me being able to play basketball while he was on the staff. Was very fortunate to have that opportunity. And I'm of the vein that, not a lot of people get that chance. And I was very blessed and fortunate to have that opportunity because, I mean, we grew as people, but then also he's the guy who taught me how to play the game of basketball. So, and it was kind of the bookends of it. It's you started me, and then my college career, you're helping me get to a point of just being better and trying to maximize that opportunity the best I could. So it was amazing. It was truly amazing. It helped us really become what we are now. I mean, he's one of my best friends, and it's really awesome to have that. And while, both having your goals of trying to be the best you can and win basketball games.
What were some of your best memories looking back on your playing career at State?
My best memories were my teammates. I mean, I absolutely love those guys. And there's a few that, I mean, I really consider brothers. Like we talk all the time and different threads. And even, one of our managers, Jordan Green, he's just become one of my just confidants and people you can always count on. And so I would definitely say the camaraderie you had with just young people that you're going to battle with every day when you're playing. But then also the fans. Like, I mean, North Carolina State's it's an incredible place. It's a basketball school. It's everybody wants the basketball program to do well, and they'll do anything to support you morally, and just they keep you in right spirits. And like it's really hard to explain how powerful that fan base really is in making sure that we were always supported and we're just moving in the right direction. So I'd say the university and the fan base, but most importantly, my teammates, the young people that Herb first brought into that program, and then also Sydney brought in the program that were just good folks and you want to keep around.
Who was the best player you ever played with or against?
Ooh, that's tough. Say best player I played with at NC State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, best player I played with at NC State, I would say there's a tie.
Okay.
I would go Courtney Fells and also Brandon Costner. Those guys could just flat out hoop. They're just good basketball players. Played against, that's tough. I mean, you know how the ACC was. You're an ACC product as well. Just a myriad of guys who were still competing for championships right now in the NBA. So that'd be tougher. That'd be really hard to hone in on just
down.
one.
Yeah.
Just a lot of guys.
Who was the person that always made you laugh on your team at State?
Those two as well.
Yeah.
Brandon and Courtney. I mean, just they're nuts. They're hilarious. They're just really, really funny, witty. They're guys that can, have a conversation about everything. That I love that intelligence. So that humor becomes even funnier. So, and we have our own little jargon and different inside jokes. So those two are definitely probably the funniest people still to this day that I interact with.
Yeah, inside jokes that you can't share on here publicly.
No doubt. Or tell you where the origin of the joke came from.
Sure. So. After you were done playing at State, you decided to pursue a professional career. You went to Ireland, of all places. Yeah. What was that experience like, going from the United States to going playing there?
It was incredible. I mean, so I was very fortunate. My mother took me to Ireland when I was younger, and it literally the only part of the country we didn't get to visit was the part of the country that I had the opportunity to go play in. So that was awesome because it was just, fully encompassing experience of finally seeing the entire country. But major thing was just that culture is unbelievable. It's just those people are all about their family first and enjoying their day second, and are so open to everybody sharing in that. Like it's a phenomenal culture and place to be. So that was really cool. I moved over there. I was living with the family. The guys, the GM of the team. Like it was awesome. And they bring you in like you're just family. But every interaction you have over there is that way with every single person. Like no one's having a bad day, or if they are, you have no idea. And go enjoy your day. And at night we're going to celebrate the day and then do it all again tomorrow. So it was fantastic. And the basketball was actually a lot better than I anticipated. But it was.
Yeah, I was going to ask the level of basketball there. How did it compare to what you saw in the ACC?
No, it was nowhere near it, but it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I will say that. There's a lot of good players over there.
And you only stayed there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
After you were done with that first year, there was no desire to try to pursue playing anywhere else?
No, I was done. That was kind of, I wanted to always do it for a season just to kind of have that experience, live in another place, and just taking that aspect of things. But playing career was done at that point. My knees were telling me it was over.
Okay, but your playing career was not done at that point because you came back to the States and you decided you wanted to be a football player of all things. You didn't play football in high school. You didn't play in college.
No.
Talk me through the thought process there.
Another thing, this may sound a little weird, but I'm not somebody who kind of sets goals. My mom was always big on, if you want to do something, find a way to do it. Like, there's 999 no's, but somebody's going to give you a yes on that 1,000th try, and continue to pursue how to find that. And I always wanted to play in the NFL. Like, it's just a lot of my friends were like, you have the build and the athleticism and this and that. And so when this is the God's honest truth. When I got into my dad's car coming back from Ireland, he said, "What do you want to do next?" And I really went like, I've always wanted to try the football thing. Might as well train. I'm still in shape. And he was like, "Oh, that's great." I talked to somebody about doing that. So that ended up being what we started pursuing. I got with a good friend of ours, actually, Jay Sonhalter, who played at ECU. And we started kind of just getting after it, and was afforded an opportunity to work out with a team out over on your alma mater, because you guys had that new turf in there. So went over there, worked out. He told me to kind of take it seriously. kept training, had an opportunity to go to pro day at NC State. They afforded me that opportunity and had a pretty good workout. After that, ended up signing with an agency, and they sent me down to Tom Shaw football camp down in Florida, which was amazing because I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and there were a ton of Steelers there. So I was just like, this is unreal. Can't believe I'm actually here working out with these guys. And then Santonio Holmes, who actually was a Buckeye alum, actually took his own personal time to teach me how to become a tight end, which was unbelievable, and I'll be forever indebted to him for that. And workouts went well. Watched the draft, didn't get drafted, and 5 minutes later I had a call that I was going to be a free agent, and I was heading to Dallas.
What was the reaction from other football players that had played football their whole lives when you kind of show up and you say, hey, I'm gonna try this out?
It's always interesting because I've always had a theory that everybody wants to be a basketball player. Like, it's just like you listen to the different hip hop culture and different things, like everybody wants to play basketball. I mean, it's the greatest sport in the world. I'm all biased intended. But it was always interesting because I was really good friends with the football guys. I mean, you know, another mutual friend, Andre Brown, like he was always like, man, you got the build, you might as well try it. And I just kind of never came around to it just because of my passion for basketball. And, you know, in hindsight, probably should have tried it. But it was their reaction was always like, yeah, I'm glad you're doing it. And why not do it? And you got the build and the athleticism. So just give it a try. So they were always very supportive of it. It was awesome. A couple of them asked me why I didn't play in college. I'm kind of mad about that. But other than that, very supportive.
Well, earlier you mentioned your knees. It did end up being an injury that kept you from making the team there in Dallas, but you did go to the rookie camp. You were able to participate in a lot, get down there to Jerry World.
Absolutely.
And you met the man himself.
I did, which was on my bucket list. So it was I'm not a very, oh my goodness, that's that type of person. But I always I completely respect what he's done, the way he's built that franchise in that city and the way he's done it. So he's kind of been on that, like, I want to have a conversation. I want 5 minutes with this person, bucket list of mine. And so it was really awesome to kind of go in there and he knowing everything about you and having conversations like you've known each other for 5 years. It was awesome to see the way he ran that and just the way he conducted business. And it was very cool to be able to kind of pull some of those major attributes that you knew he had in order to kind of try to keep those and sustain them when you get into your professional ranks. You
got football out of your system and you came back and you decided to go into, you know, just the regular world like the rest of us. You did some marketing jobs.
Yes. Yeah.
How different was it from being an athlete, going and playing overseas, going through this experience in Dallas to step back into the business world?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, I kind of approach everything the same way. It's you got to find a way to succeed. So it was really not knowing anything about it and having the opportunity. Chris Corchiani, actually, NC State legend, was the guy who gave me the position. They created the position for me, and his partner, Mark West. And they really just kind of let me take the reins and do what I wanted to. They kind of gave me a baseline of what they expected and then just kind of let me run with it. So as you know, I'm a very competitive human being. So it was more so me kind of competing with myself to try to make it the best I possibly could. Because, I mean, these two guys afforded me an opportunity to help their business grow. And I wanted to make sure that they were completely satisfied with me being in that role. So I just really attacked it as the self-motivation piece and kind of competing against yourself to see what you can get out of it. So I attributed the business to just like sports like I do now and just kind of jumped in and attacked it that way.
I don't know how satisfied you were in that role yourself, though, because you did stay very long. What made you kind of turn again and decide to go into coaching?
I actually was in contact with Archie Miller randomly one day. I'm sitting in that office that I was working in, and I legitimately was just like, I haven't spoken to Arch in a while. Like, should just reach out, say hello. I'm a big believer in the universe and that man upstairs putting you in positions to do things like this. But Reached out. He had a conversation. It was like February. He was like, "Hey, great to hear from you. After the season, I'm gonna, try to pursue some things, branch out." And when that happened, I actually got a phone call when he did take the job at the University of Dayton, and he said that he didn't know what capacity it was going to be, but he wanted me to come join him up there. I played AAU for his dad. His brother and my dad both played at Pitt. Then they coached Arch at NC State. We just had so many different connections growing up that it was awesome that he knew that I wanted to coach when I was younger. And then when he was in school and remembered that, I was very blessed for that. And he gave me the opportunity to come be his graduate assistant up at University of Dayton, and was very fortunate to be with him and kind of try to aid him in his success while we were there.
How quickly did you say yes?
Oh, literally told him I could start walking up there right now if he wanted me to. I had to then come bring myself back down and go like, oh God, I don't want to leave coach. But this is like my dream. I've always wanted to coach and had the opportunity to do so. So I was, I'd say like 0.2 seconds.
You spent 3 seasons with Archie there at Dayton, and then you made the transition to the women's side.
Yes.
Before you made that transition with Archie, you were able to take a team to the Elite Eight. You had a lot of success. What did you gain in those 3 years under Miller?
I think the major thing that I gained from him is how to run a program the right way. It was amazing. I never once ever doubted the fact that he'd become what he is. I kind of always, even when he was playing, I knew this is what he would be. He would be very successful and very fast at this. And I think the major thing that I took from him is how to establish your program the way you want to from day one. It was his first time being a head coach, and I want to be in his shoes one day. So a lot of the way that I based kind of how I want to attack it, I learned from him. He built a staff. He took over a roster. He made sure everybody was very happy there and put a system in that allowed them to continue the success that they were having. He played a lot differently, but, he still played on the strengths of the kids that he had. He didn't just throw in something and hopefully it stuck, to the wall. So majorly how to hit the ground running in something new and exciting and making it successful. I think that's the major thing that I would say I was very fortunate to be around and watch him do.
It sounds like you enjoyed your time working underneath him and being there in Dayton. What made you decide to make the transition to the women's side?
Always wanted to be a full-time assistant, and that was genderless for me. I love basketball, and I just always wanted to be in a position to be around the game and impact young people's lives because somebody did it for me. It's, my biggest role models I met through basketball. A lot at NC State, a lot in high school, after NC State, they're basketball people. And I've always wanted to be able to help people take advantage of that opportunity of this game and what it can provide for us in order to educate yourself and improve your family situation. So that's basically what it was. And I was very fortunate to build a relationship with the women's staff and Coach Jaber and Shauna Green and Cameron Whitaker. And I was actually sitting in Coach Jaber's office when the job opened. And he was like, hey, would you like to coach for me? And I kind of looked at him like, yeah, absolutely. I'll be right back. Went and grabbed my stuff, told Arch. He was like, give me a fist pump. And then I was down the hall, which is, again, very interesting. But again, man upstairs. But, it was right time, right place, right place, right time. I always say that backwards, but was very, very excited for the opportunity and try to, again, hit the ground running. And somebody gives you a chance, you don't want to let them down. And you also want to kind of compete against yourself and be the best you can.
What's the biggest difference between coaching men and women?
Really just the athleticism. It's the tactical piece of it's the same. And young people are young people. So it's just the major thing is, we're not throwing lobs and drawing up sets to throw the ball to the rim. But, we also have to really be on your X and O's and your tactical piece of it because it's so much more fundamental, which is a coach's dream for me. I mean, I'm literally in heaven every day when we're talking about offense, because you are putting young people in a position to play off their strengths. And it's so much more necessary to create offense and create situations, just because, well, I mean, the skill level is so high in women's basketball. So I think the major thing is just, it's X and O's of basketball, not, throwing it to the rim to guys who jump over everyone else or things like that.
Sure.
It's very simple.
How are you able to develop a relationship with these women through the recruiting process and then as they're a part of the team?
Yeah. I mean, I've always took the approach that people are people. And it's been really awesome because, when you're switching over from the men's side to the women's side, you just have different questions because you never had done it. But I was very fortunate that my sister's recruiting process, I was very involved in that. So kind of built some relationships on this side of things. And at the end of the day, I mean, human beings are human beings. So we all have our own journey. We all have our own walk of life. And it's really awesome to get to know other people's, tell them about yours possibly, if they're interested, and then just kind of grow from there. My mom, just growing up, I was always around adults, and intentionally she did that so I could, have conversations, not be apprehensive. And I think that's really, really helped through, my progression, but then also professionally. So it's just applying it to people, and everybody has a story. You want to get to know that. And then hopefully you can transform that into them being around you every day and just helping them through their journey of kind of maturation.
How much do you have to use TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat when it comes to these women?
Very, very, very much on Instagram and Twitter, like very much. I think it's now the point where it's all of us are learning our news anyways, in many situations. So it's just the social media aspect of it's major. And thankfully we're young and hip, I like to tell myself. So it's, we were very fortunate to be in that age range of where all of this stuff started to begin anyways. Yeah. So it's just kind of like it's how we communicate with our friends anyway. So it's been interesting, but it's a lot. You do a lot of social media interaction.
So you are young, you're young and hip, and you're understanding all the lingo and everything that goes on with the college age guys right now?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We have to. But the cool thing is, like, even small things, like we listen to the same music. So it's like, it's not like, unfortunately, there's some people who have to like go research it and do this and that. I mean, we're literally talking about the culture. It's just my culture is their culture. So I've been very fortunate in that respect. That's a great question, Erin.
Thank you. Emotionally for you, when you got that call to come back to NC State, someplace where you grew up watching Kay Yow coach, and being able to be a part of that women's program, what went through your mind when you got the call?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I always wanted to coach at that university. So it was really, really surreal almost. You're going to be coaching games, like you said, on that floor that Coach Yow was at, and your dad coached on that floor, and you played on that floor, and you practiced on that floor. And it was just really incredible to have that opportunity. So surreal is the word that I kind of go with. I mean, you kind of get goosebumps every time you talk about it, because it's just like it's a dream realized. And forever indebted to Coach Moore for giving me that opportunity to go back. And, it's your second home. It's, again, that place you grew up, again, place you kind of honed your skills at. And it was really an amazing opportunity.
I've heard rumblings here and there, people saying, well, when Coach Moore is done, Simon should be the head coach there. And we're not going to, pin you to anything right now, but let's just say it happened. That opportunity came up. Is that something that you would be interested in?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, there's nothing like being able to help your alma mater try to achieve that ultimate goal of winning a national championship and having all of your young women graduate and go on to be able to take care of themselves. And it's so much cooler to be able to have that conversation when you can say, it's like, well, I'm a fellow alum, but one day that would be amazing if it was an opportunity that afforded itself. I mean, at a younger age, that was the dream, being the head coach in North Carolina State. Like, it's like, you go to bed, you pray for it. But no, that'd be incredible. That'd be incredible. But Coach Moore has a lot more years, a lot more W's to get down there. So we'll see.
When you were looking at going to Ohio State, did you consider the color palette of the school? Because now you don't have to buy any new suits, right?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I've been very fortunate to be at universities that have red, white, and they allow you to wear black involved. It's been unbelievable. It's like the red and black are my favorite colors anyways. But it's almost kind of, my mom is like a running joke of it. It's like, you're always at a red school. It's like, well, yeah, favorite color. Like, what do you mean? But no, it's been very fortunate in that regard. Don't have to buy new clothes.
Yeah, that's a really easy transition. I think for me, that would be something that I would consider, what color looks good on me, what school I want to go to.
Absolutely.
It's a big thing. I don't know how much I would, fit in at a school that was like orange or something.
Right. Yeah, I struggle because I'm very, very, very simple in that color palette. Like, you're going to get red, black, white, and gray, and that's all anyways. And, suits are big. Like, that's a lot of fabric to be paying for constantly, be switching up. So red and black for now is great.
You've had an incredible journey from when you were a player throughout your coaching career. Where do you see yourself in 3 years down the line?
That's a great question. I really don't. A lot of people say it's odd that I don't kind of think that way. I'm very big on staying in the present and having a plan of making where you are the best it can be. I mean, we just had a discussion of I do want to be a head coach one day, but I'm in a great situation right now where I think I can learn a lot of how to do that. I mean, Coach McGuff's been running programs for years. He's been in women's basketball for years and has had success, and kind of looking forward to seeing how he does that. Like, our relationship's growing immensely quickly. I mean, we talk all the time, which is awesome. So yeah, just kind of that progression of that and see where things go. I mean, the eventual goal is to have your own program, hopefully, make that school as great as it can and try to hopefully pursue championships there. But we'll see.
In 3 years, we're still growing, but maybe 5, we're going to be a head coach.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, it was awesome talking to you. I really appreciate it.
It's great. Thanks for having me. I was so hyped when you told me you wanted to do this. I was like, yes.
Yeah, you have an incredible story, so it's cool to be able to share some of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me. I'm loving that you're doing so well. It's awesome.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you don't ever miss an episode of ACC Stars, Where Are They Now?